Today we're going to talk about what has already been dubbed the D5 killer. What up, team viewers at home? My name is Malcolm Eugene, and welcome to Tech Zone, where we talk tech. Now, last time we talked about the Nikon 500 and how it is an amazing APS-C sensor camera. But now, let's talk about its big brother, the D5, and how it has some stiff competition ahead. Just the other day, Canon announced their 1DX Mark II, their new flagship full-frame DSLR camera, and the specs on it are amazing, and that's coming from a Nikon shooter. Like, I shoot Nikon, all my lens mounts are for Nikon, I vouch for Nikon. But the new Canon flagship camera, at least compared to the D5, look absolutely stunning. Why do you say, I ask? Well, let's get into a little comparison of the two. First off, the Nikon D5 priced at $6,500. That's to be expected with a flagship DSLR. But the Canon 1DX Mark II is actually coming in lower than that at just $6,000. So let's see if this is going to pan out as far as value. Now, on the Nikon D5, you do get a 20.8 or 21 megapixel sensor in your actual camera compared to Canon's 20.2 megapixel. 20.2 has just kind of been their magic number that they've really stuck with for years. As far as memory card type, everyone was kind of up in arms about Nikon going the XQD route with their new cameras they announced. And the XQD, the D5 supports a dual XQD or a dual SD card slot in their camera, so you have the option of getting either or, whereas with the Canon you have to get a compact flash or a CFast 2.0. Now, as far as price wise, at least on Amazon, the XQDs were going for about $100 and up, more in that price range, and the CFast 2.0 we're going for $200 and up. So you're starting to see the difference in price and the things you're going to need for the camera versus how much it's going to cost to actually have the body. Well, let's get into it. Both of them have 3.2-inch touch displays, which is great. Now with the D5, it is just for reviewing and swiping. There's no like menu scrolling or selections you can make with that, which I feel like needs to be updated and definitely can be updated. And of course, with the Canon, not being able to have my hands on it right now, I couldn't tell you if it did or not have that same problem. Now, as far as ISO performance, low light performance on these cameras, the Nikon kind of outshines Canon 8 times over, getting into their native ISO of 100 to 102,000. And then on the Canon side, it's 100 to 51,200. But let's talk about the expanded ISO. This is where things get really, really shaky. Now on the Nikon, the expanded ISO is about 3.2 million. Yeah, so basically you're going to be looking at a white screen. I can't see how it could be any better than about 12,000, but we'll see how that turns out once we start to see some images. And then of course the Canon comes in about 400,000, but still, Nikon expandable ISO 8 times more than the Canon. That's insane. Both of them are going to have shutter speeds of 1/8,000th of a second, which is great for any kind of sports or wildlife photography. Now, continuous shooting, the Nikon's going to shoot at 12 frames per second with a 200 raw image buffer, compared to Canon's 14 frames per second with 170 raw image buffer. So you have a shorter buffer, but it does shoot a little faster. So it really just depends on what you're looking for, something that shoots a little faster or something where you can actually shoot continuously for a little longer. But then again, I can't see myself holding down the shutter for 200 shots. That just seems a little insane. As far as autofocus goes, once again, Nikon kind of outshines Canon once again with 153 autofocus points versus 61. And on the Nikon, of those 153 autofocus points, 99 are cross-type. And on the Canon, of those 61, only 41 are cross-type. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird because, you know, Canon's really known for their autofocus systems. So we'll see if Nikon's actually having more in their actual camera or viewfinder is actually going to be beneficial as far as capturing accurate photos. Here's where things get really, really interesting. Both cameras record in 4K. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. It was a given. You had the GH4, you had the Sony AX7, you know. It was just a matter of time before Nikon and Canon finally gave in and decided to do 4+4K in their camera. Now, the Nikon D5 records 4K at 30 frames per second. And Canon, believe this or not, records 4K at 60 frames per second. Which, that's crazy. Especially when you look at when you record in 4K on the Nikon, it crops it down to about a micro 4/3 level on your actual picture. So I don't know. We will see. It seems like the Canon is looking really, really good for 4K videographers out there. Now HD video, the Nikon D5 records 1080p video at 60 frames per second. But look at this, the Canon 1DX Mark II records 1080p video at 120 frames per second. So what that means is you could slow your image and picture down. But that is insane, you know. I've never seen that in a Canon camera. So it's like I said, it's looking a lot better for videographers, the Canon is, versus the Nikon. As far as other features, the Nikon D5, you get Wi-Fi, NFC, Snap Bridge, you know, makes it really easy to share your photos. On the Canon side, they give you GPS, they have Wi-Fi capability, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong down in the description below, you may need the external dongle or receiver in order to do that, which is really a con. They really should put that into the actual camera. But who am I? I'm a nobody. Anyways, as far as recommendations go, it's looking like the Canon 1DX Mark II is more for videographers because, first of all, you get more capabilities with not only HD video but 4K video, and from what I can tell, from what I've read, there's no crop factor on that, so you're not going to get that micro thirds crop on there. So it's looking really, really great for videographers. Now, on the other hand, the Nikon D5 is looking very, very promising for still photographers. You know, people who go out there and shoot photos, you know, specifically sports and wildlife, mainly because you have the low light performance of just a monster low light performance, and you know, just all the way, how I say, it's just better for photos. It's just better for photos. So it really just depends on if you're going to do more photos or more video. For me personally, I'm what they call a hybrid shooter. Basically, I shoot photos and videos. So for me, I'm looking for a camera where it kind of gives me the best of both worlds. And as far as balance is concerned, I don't know. It's looking like the Canon is kind of the way to go, and that's coming from me. Like I said, I'm a Nikon shooter. I shoot Nikon all day, but I don't know. It is something to behold. But what do you guys think? Do you like the Nikon D5 or do you like the Canon 1DX Mark II? Let us know down in the comments below. And as always, make sure you subscribe. Visit us at teenviewmagazine.com. My name is Malcolm Eugene, and that is Tech Zone.